Hello everyone, my name is Claudio Fonseca, this is Level Change channel, and today we're going to use the FSI panel to fly an approach into Manchester. This is the new training scenario available a couple of days ago. Today I'm recording this video on 7th of March 2023. So from now on you are going to see my entire screen, and that's what we have now. We have some scenario instructions. Please check your cockpit as per lesson plan, and when ready, hold your brakes for 2 seconds to take control. So I'm going inside the plane now. I'm just going to set some lights here. I just noticed that it's getting dark now, so maybe we are going to need some lights. So before I release everything, I'm going to set up my lights. You can do this as well. The airplane is just stationary in the air at the point it is supposed to start the flight itself. So what we have now, I'm going to use this camera here, put this down so we can check our flight plan. So we are flying to Delta, Sierra Charlie, then Lecky, then Dizzy, then Houston, and then Mike Charlie Tango VOR. And then we go outbound. Let me check on the plan mode so we can have a better picture of it. So previous page, Leckley, Dizzy, Rossum, and towards Manchester VOR. Okay, approaching Manchester VOR, maximum 185 knots. We go outbound. Then we have left inbound turns toward the final. 3,500 is the minimum altitude at this point. Fox Delta 23 Lima, and then we go down to 1460. Then we have the 3-degree glide path all the way down to the runway. 307 is the threshold crossing height. In case of missed approach, we climb to 660. Once we reach 660 straight ahead, what we do, I'm not sure, so I'm going to take this according to the chart here. It says climb straight ahead 3,500, then as directed. So straight ahead 3,500, quite easy this missed approach. Maximum 185 knots the entire procedure. Okay, this is checked. So I'm going back to my map mode. Let me see, we are in heading cell, so I'm going to change it to LNAV, and let's check the cruise. It says 250, so we can set VNAV as well. Okay, so we have FMCA speed, LNAV, and VNAV path. Right now I'm going to put the instructions here on top again, and I hold the brakes for 2 seconds, and we are flying. You have control, safe landing. Okay, so ARM, LNAV, VNAV, I did it. I'm sorry, I did it before. FSI 001, clear like K1 mic arrival. Wind 27085, dew point, temperature 15, dew point 5, QNH 1013 is already preset. I acknowledge. The minimums on the bottom 740. Okay, we have our MDA plus 50 feet. And that is fine. So we are approaching DCS, Delta Charlie Sierra. We have top of descent in around 20 miles. We have auto brake 2. Auto brake 2 can be enough, even though with runway wet, what we have now in Manchester, I would like to go auto brake 3 just in case. We have our speed selected already, as you can see here, 3131. So this would be time for the descent checklist, which says pressurization landing altitude should be around 300 feet. Let's check. 250. Okay, 300 for us. Recall is checked. Auto brake, we have auto brake 3 now. Landing data, VREF flaps 31 and minimum throttle 740. And approach briefing is completed. We have this VOR. The final approach course is 232. Inbound 113.55. That's what we have on the VOR on both sides, and on the course both sides as well. Now a new instruction, FSI 001, descent flight level 200, expect VOR DME 23 left, ILS approaches not available. So 20,000, I acknowledge, and we are going to descend in VNAV. By the way, I'm going to check the descent page, how it is. We are descending with 305 knots and then 240 knots below 10,000, which is okay. Again, we have some speed restriction, DZ to 50 and Rosum to 30. By the VOR and the entire approach, 185 knots, which is okay. So here we go. We are now, I will keep these on the cruise page. We are 4.5 miles to the top of descent. Let's see from outside. Cloudy and rainy day into Manchester. So now approaching top of descent. We are going to see the throttles reducing. We are going to keep VNAV path initially. And I'm going to take the data off because I don't want to see the timings there. Another thing, we don't have the traffic on, so traffic is on right now on both sides. This one I want the VST with the terrain data, and this one should be in weather radar, even though the weather radar is not working. So we have retard here, that's fine, and we are going to have hold really soon, or arm, and the 737. Hold is on the 777, the airplane that I'm currently flying in real life now. So yes, arm. So we have the throttles reduced all the way to idle, and now it's in arm position, which means I can move it with my throttles. So if I put it up, it goes up. If I put it down, it goes down, just like I did. So this is enough for now. Luckily, flight level 200 or above, we are clear to 200. We should get more instructions soon. We are getting inside the clouds. Okay, descent flight level 70, I acknowledge. And we can go down now to 70 on the altitude here. Altitude 70 set is confirmed. Now will be a left turn. Towards DZ. DZ maximum 250 knots. So we do have a deceleration point before DZ. This is what FMC is calculating that we need to pitch up and reduce the speed to 250 knots. Now we have FMC speed, so we have some thrust here. It's because it's aiming to achieve flight level 70 by position Rosum, as you can see here on the right side. And also on the left side on the FMC, you already have the active speed and altitude. So the speed is 305 for now, and the altitude is 070. As we approach the acceleration point, you will see that the 230 knots will be the active speed, or in this case 250 knots by DZ, and then 230 knots at Rosum. So you will see the magenta speed changing from 305 here to 250, and then from 250 to 230 by Rosum. Already inside the clouds, as you can see it from outside as well. I'm using the Ryanair livery today for this flight into Manchester. I like this one. Here we go. Still going down. Everything looks fine. We are on the speed, on profile. We don't have to worry much about it for now, as we are still high. We have the entire approach to fly. There is some tailwind. We can check how much tailwind this 271 at 10 is right now on the progress page number 2. So we have 5 knots tailwind and 8 knots from the right. This is like the vector. You have a wind from 271 at 10, which means you're going to have a component of 5 knots tailwind and 8 knots from the right. And as the wind changes, of course, this information about tailwind and crosswind will change as well. Right now in this progress page, we don't have vertical deviation and we are on track, so everything is fine. If we start to get high, you will have the information how much we deviate from the path right here. I'm not expecting to deviate from the path for this approach. Okay, here we go. We are approaching 10,000 feet. We are already inside the clouds. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to set, oh, we already have the seatbelt sign fastened. So that's fine. I'm assuming the cabin is ready for our approach. Beautiful view. We are between the layers of cloud here. And right now 35 miles out of Manchester. So the speed is reducing now to reach 250 by DZ. We are a little bit fast. We can use the speed brakes to come back to this path. Yeah, 2.3 miles to DZ. We will have to do it. So speed brake extended to help it reduce the speed. Yeah, the speed is reaching 250 on the command speed. It says drag require. Yes, we are using the speed brake. FMCA speed. And we are approaching now to 50 knots. So as we are on profile, reaching to 50, in this case, crossing out 10,000 is going to reduce to 240. And then 230 by resume. I'm coming here to take landing lights, runway turn off, taxi light, logo light because it's getting dark. And as we approach the speed, we retract the speed brake. Okay. FMCA speed, we are a little bit high, 200 feet, not a big deal. Again, if you go to progress page number 2, now you're going to have here what is our deviation. We are 55, 58 now feet high on the profile itself. Okay, another information. Descent 3,500, direct to Manchester VOR, QNH 1013. So, direct to Manchester VOR, we execute 3,500 and QNH is 1013. So this should be 1013 as well. Okay. Says again, drag required. This is not correct. Yeah, it just disappeared because it calculated the path again. We are quite okay, and we can do the approach checklist. Altimeters is 1013 set and cross-checked. Now you can already see the approach. We are inbound the VOR from the north, so we are going to make a left turn outbound on the radial 065, and then left base turn inbound 232, which is the radial 052 inbound the VOR. Of course, we don't have to calculate the radial itself. We always use course. As you can see here, the 737 has a button for you to use the course. So whatever you see on the chart here, it's displayed as a course, and you can use it as a course, and you have the correct indication on your airplane. It doesn't matter if you are going to or from the station itself. You just need to select the course, and that's fine. You can always use Vorlok for this kind of procedures, but the most common technique is to fly LNAV and VNAV based on the FMC. If you do have the procedure on your FMC, that's our case for today. So the airplane is descending 3,500 towards Manchester. We are about to reach 3,500 just over the VOR. If we continue this descent, we also have to reduce the speed, so it is okay. The airplane is adding some thrust to maintain around 1,000 feet per minute descent right now. And most probably as we get closer, it's going to reduce all the thrust and pitch up, reducing towards 185 knots, which is the speed over Manchester VOR. So 185, this is around 55 or 60, 40 plus 15. This is 55 knots from our current speed. So I will say by 5.5 miles we should start decelerating. If it doesn't do automatically, I'm going to do it manually, but I assume that the PMDG is capable of calculating this kind of speed reduction. So we are getting close to the deceleration point. FSI 001, clear VOR DME 23 left, the speed 185 knots or less, acknowledge. Yeah, that's what we have on the chart, that's what we have on the FMC, so I'm waiting it to start reducing. As you can see, it's already reducing to 35 knots. And as we approach the flap up speed, we need to extend the flaps, because with flaps up, we can reduce up to 199 knots and not below. Now it says drag required, not a big deal. I'm going to extend the flaps 1 now, so speed check flaps 1. Flaps are being extended, and as you can see, trailing edge flaps extending and leading edge flaps extending. It says drag required again. Flaps 1 is enough to reduce to 185 or less. It's already reducing to 179, so I'm going to keep flaps 1 for now. And we'll have a left turn heading around 065. Actually, we maintain the 065 track outbound from Manchester VOR. So speed is approaching 185 by the VOR, which is what we need. All good for now. For the 3,500 is the minimum altitude at the final. So we are 500 to that altitude, which is okay. Going to level off in around well, now we have FMC speed and VNAV path. So it's going to level off now, 3,900, and wait for the path to come down. Right now we are 3,400 above the path. So it's going to keep this altitude until we are on the path. If you really want the plane to go down 3,500 and then capture the path, you can always change it to vertical speed, descend like 500 feet per minute. We have MCP speed, vertical speed. And then once you have altitude acquiring and altitude hold, you change back to VNAV. This is just to make sure we are complying with the ATC instructions to go down to 3,500. And in the UK airspace, you have to advise ATC if you do not maintain at least 500 feet per minute during descent and climbs, unless when you are approaching 10,000 feet when you start the reduction for 250 knots. So we have altitude acquiring now. Really soon we are going to have altitude hold. Altitude hold, that is okay. So now I can engage VNAV again. So we have FMC speed, VNAV path. I will maintain 3,500 on the MCP until we are approaching this Fox Delta 23 left, which is the point that we have to maintain 3,500. So around 2 miles to Fox Delta 23 left, which on the chart is this point here, is this point 9.4 DME. So 9.4 DME, as you can see, FD23 left, this is the point. So 2 miles from this point, I'm going to select a lower altitude, which in this case is going to be 1,460. And when we are approaching the 3 miles, when we are approaching this altitude, I'm going to set our MDA of 800 feet in this case. It's 690 plus 50, 740. So 740, we don't have 740. The first one above is 800. And then once we are approaching the 800 feet, I will set our missed approach 3,500. So 185 is enough for this turn, and as we are leveled at 3,500, I'm going to maintain this configuration. Once we approach as well this Fox Delta 23 left, I'm going to extend flaps 5 and reduce to flaps 5 speed. As you can see, we are inside clouds. So we are getting close to the 12.4 miles, which is the point we start the left turn. So we just started the turn. Inbound. $232 plus minus the wind that we are going to check when we are on the final. So right now we are 5.3 miles to Fox Delta 23 left. Again, once we are around 2 miles, I'm going to extend flaps 5. Select a lower altitude to keep the airplane descending on the VNAV. So the VNAV path is coming. We are at 3.9 miles. Intercepting the final now. So 3 miles, I'm going to extend flaps to 5. As we are in VNAV, the speed is going to reduce to flap 5 speed automatically. Approaching 2 miles, the next altitude 1,500. By Boeing, at this time we should extend flaps to 15 and select the gear down. I'm going to do, once we capture the profile going down, it's smoother for the passengers. And we have headwind, so it's not going to be a problem to configure this airplane. We are landing pretty much sea level, and this is 3,500 now. So now the airplane will start to descend. So gear down, flaps 15. Pilot monitoring comes here and takes the engine start switch to continuous, and pilot flying can arm the speed brake. Here we go. Flap 15 speed is set. We are around 8 miles to the Manchester VOR, passing 3,000 feet on descent. At this time, we can already set the missed approach altitude. I'm just going to make sure we are reaching around 800 feet just before the runway on the path. That is okay. So now we can select the missed approach altitude 3,500. As we are already below 3,500 and on VNAV path, the airplane will keep going down all the way until we start our missed approach or until we disconnect the autopilot to complete our landing. Now we have rain. So we are approaching more or less 5 miles to the VOR. All the way to the end of the descent, we have 6 miles to runway 23 left. So by now I'm going to select flaps 30. And I'm going to read the landing checklist, which says engine start switches in continuous, speed brake is armed, landing gear down, and flaps, we just have to check 30 green light, and landing checklist is complete. So here we go. Ready to land. I read the instructions before. I think we are not going to see the runway at this approach. There is a high possibility that we are going to perform a go around. So far we are clear to land, runway 23 left, wind 270 at 13, and runway wet. So if it is 270 at 13, I'm going to add one extra knot here on this approach, wind correction of 6, because we have around 12 knots headwind or something like that. So we are at 1000 stable. Here we are. In case we need to go around, we call go around. We press toga. At this point, the autopilot disconnects. We have to rotate. Following the flight director, make sure we have the thrust. Once we are sure we have the thrust, we retract flaps to 15. Once we have positive rate, that means the airplane is climbing, we set the gear up. We are approaching minimums and no sign of the runway for now. Go around. Go around toga, flight director, flaps 15, positive rate, gear up. Whoops, too much pitch. We can connect the autopilot again. And with LNAV, N1 MCP speed command. So here we are. Gear up, flap 15. LNAV, we are flying straight ahead. We are above acceleration altitude. We can accelerate now to flap up speed and retract flaps to 1, or better to 5 now, and then to 1. And as we pass the flaps 1 speed to up. FSI 001, turn right heading 250, climb 5000. So heading cell 250, climb to 5000. So 5000 is set. We are climbing 1000 feet per minute, which is enough for now. Low visibility procedures are in force. Expect ILS to the right, Cat 3 approach. Okay, I am going to acknowledge this one. Actually, this plane is not certified Cat 3 approach. Let me see if we have Cat 1 Alpha here. To the right. Yeah, we have the minimums for Cat 3 Alpha. Okay, 50 feet. Okay. Let's change here. VNAV disconnected, clear. Okay, so departure arrival, Manchester. Now we have ILS 23 right. For now, from Manchester VOR, I'm going to execute. The minimums for this approach, they are radio 50. Using reserve fuel, I'm going to cancel this for now, as we are going to deal with this approach. 1095. Turn right heading 010. I'm going to complete this turn initially before I do something else. So we have out to the coordinate 5000. So heading 010. Acknowledge, because I want to come back to this approach as soon as we can. So 109.5. 109.5. Final approach course is 232, which is fine. We have the minimums. We need, as it is low visibility Cat 3 approach, we are going to select flaps 40. 127 is the speed. One thing, as I told you, I can show you now. Menu, PMDG setup, aircraft and equipment. I do not have here. Let me see where it is. Here, auto land, it can be fail passive or fail operational. For a Cat 3 Bravo, we need a fail operational. For Cat 3 Alpha, we can still do a fail passive one, even though I never had training to perform a Cat 3 approach in the 737. When I was flying the 737 in South America, I only had training to do Cat 2 approaches. Now that I'm flying the 777, of course, I do have up to Cat 3B certification. So I'm going to do a mix of what I know from Cat 3 approaches and the 737 with fail passive instruments and certification. Okay, so we cannot do much better than this. This is a training scenario as well. So we are planning an auto land now on runway 23 right with auto brake 3, flaps 40, but at 50 feet we need to see at least one light, and that light will allow us to keep the center line after landing if something goes wrong with the autopilot. Okay, but it should be dual coupled autopilot approach for an automatic landing. So right now, let's see if we can do something better related to our flight itself. We don't need to go all the way to vectors. We can select, as we are going to be vector. Let me see which one is the point that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the second, Charlie Fox Romeo. Okay, turn right heading 050. Descend maintain 3500, so 3500 vertical speed going down 500 feet per minute. So we have vertical speed 3000 feet per minute going down and the heading 050 set. I acknowledge this one. So I want the second one, and the inbound course is actually this one is okay. So I'm taking this on top, intercept course 232, and I'm going to execute. So I have only my final approach fix already aligned with the runway. That will give me a better fuel prediction. So we are landing with 2.7, and the minimums or the reserve fuel for this approach is actually 2.7. So we are right there. That means we have to land at this time, or we need to divert to our alternate airport, or we can considering to commit to this airport if we are sure we can land. In these conditions, having an airplane fail passive with Cat 3 conditions and Cat 3 alpha as the limit for this approach, I don't see that this is a good idea. Okay, so in a situation like this, most probably we were going to go to a better airport around to our alternate if the conditions, especially the weather there, it's better than this one. Okay, I'm going to keep the flaps up as much as I can to reduce our fuel burn as well. Right now we have 2,800 kilos, which is our reserve. So once again, in case of missed approach, we have to go around and straight somewhere else, or we have to make sure we can land here. We are quite on the edge for the fuel for this one. We can always check if we have a closer alternate that would allow us to reduce this reserve from 2.7 to something else, like even 200 kilos or 300 kilos will make a difference right now. And another thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to change our cost index to 0 in case we need minimum Mach 040. Okay, cleared, and we are going to execute, because in case we go to our alternate, we are using the minimum amount of fuel required. Okay, that's why I use 0 from now, which is not even the long range cruise, as you can see, using reserve fuel, and this is quite correct. Okay, so I'm going to change the reserves to the 30 minutes. So 30 minutes on the 737, it is something around 500 kilos if I'm not wrong, but I'm not sure. But we can calculate based on the fuel flow here, which means 1 ton per hour right now. So yeah, this is supposed to be around. Okay, we have another information. Turn right heading 140. So 140. Speed 180 knots or less. Okay, so flaps 1. Flaps 1 speed. We acknowledge this. Another thing, so 1 ton, which means 500 kilos per engine per hour. If we need 1 ton per hour, half an hour is going to be 500, but I want to have some margin, so I will put at least 1 ton here. This 1 ton is the very minimum that we need to complete the approach and land, or to declare Mayday to ATC. Once again, one recall, we can, we didn't do the after takeoff, but engine bleeds, they are always on. Packs on, landing gear, it's up, should be up and off. Flaps are ready, flaps 1. Descent, pressurization, landing altitude is the same, 300 feet. Recall we just did. Auto brake 3. Landing data now, VREF flaps 4127, minimals radio 50 feet. Approach briefing is complete. Missed approach for this one, 3,500. Once we cross 7,050, right, or the DME, whichever is later, we turn right 357. Okay, so 750 and then right 357. Altimeter still 1013, and the next one again, the landing. We still have the engine start switch in continuous. We still have the speed brake armed. All the same as we did for the first approach. Expecting a right turn shortly. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, heading 200. And clear ILS 2 to right, cat 3 approach. So 200, we have, I am going to acknowledge this, we have India November identified. On the 232 course, we have localizer and glide slope at the proper place. So approach mode, localizer and glide slope are armed, and I can engage now the second autopilot. So both autopilots, they are selected for now. We still have only one autopilot. You are going to see really soon that information. Because once we capture the localizer, we are going to see localizer captured and single channel until we have both autopilots engaged. Okay, this should be the turn to the final. You see localizer capture and single channel. So we still have one autopilot, but both they are selected, and we are going to see command around 1,500 feet. Okay, we are going to intercept the glide slope now. I want to burn as less fuel as I can. I'm going to select flaps 5 now and reduce the speed to flap 5. I delayed a little bit this flap 5. Trying to save some fuel. So here we are in the corner between saving fuel and also be stable for this approach, because we do not want to go around. So glide slope capture, missed approach is already 3,500 feet set. I want to be stable by 1,500 feet above airport elevation, which means 1,800 feet today. So by 2,300, which is 2,000 feet above the airport elevation, I'm going to set the gear down, flap 15. Once again, this is a little bit late for a Cat 3 approach, but we want to save as much fuel as we can. And we are planning to be stable by 1,500. We still have 500 margin for this approach. Everything else is set. Speed brake is armed. Engine start switch, they are in continuous. We just need the gear to go down and the flaps to go all the way down to 40. As you can see, we cannot see much outside. This is the view of the passengers that are around the wing. So here we go around 2,500, sorry, 2,300. We set the gear down, flaps 15. Speed to flaps 15. The gear is already down, so we can also select flaps 25. This will help us to reduce the speed. And once we have a lower speed, now flaps 40, and we can reduce the speed to 132 plus another one, 133, 6 knots for this approach. So engine start switch continuous, speed brake armed, landing gear down, and flap is 40, green light, landing checklist complete. We are at 1,500 above airport elevation, fully stable. So we should have now the single channel changing to command and the flare armed for this approach. 27013, runway wet, RVR 400 meters. Okay, so we have command now and flare is armed. And 400 meters is the RVR, which means the visibility measured by the equipment itself. We can be ready for another go around. I hope not, but there is always the possibility. 1000 stable. You cannot hear the sim. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to give you the sim right now. The audio for the sim. I'm sorry, I did all this flight with the simulator sound off. I'm sorry, but at least you are going to see it now during this approach. I'm sorry for that, but it was good for you to check and to follow my voice as I was guiding you through this approach. So this was 500 feet above airport elevation. I hope we can see something. Losing the glide slope a little bit, but it's fine for now. Once the airplane lands, I'm going to disengage the autopilot and maintain the center line. Yes, these are the lights. Flare. Retard. Speed brake up. Reverses. Autopilot disengage. We maintain the center line. Here we go. Around 60 knots. Idle reverse. Manual brakes. We can see a little bit now. Okay, we can take the next high speed to the right. Taxi gate 26 via Alpha Bravo Delta Lima November Charlie and Romeo. Okay. I'm just going to vacate this runway now. Bravo, I'm pretty sure is going to be the first one to the right here, or Alpha, I'm sorry. Gate 26, let's see. So I'm going to turn here. Sometimes my steering doesn't work properly. Yes. Okay, now we go straight ahead. And before I continue this as I didn't plan, I'm going to retract one notch of flaps to have the after landing. And we come here to this Navigraph charts, and we are going to see what is our taxi. So we vacate here on Alpha. We have to continue straight ahead to join Bravo. And then on Bravo, we need to take Delta. So we continue straight ahead on Bravo. We take left on Delta. And then we take Lima. Where is Lima? This is Delta. We continue all the way on Delta. This is Lima. Then November Charlie, which is up there. And Romeo to position 26. Okay, so let me see also the parking stand and coordinates. So here it's going to be better for us to understand. Bravo, Delta. Delta, we join Lima. Then we take November Charlie, Romeo to stand 26. Okay, that is acknowledged. So let's complete this one. Okay. We didn't manage to start the APU. Low oil pressure and APU fault. The APU fault is still there, so we cannot use the APU. Okay, that's fine. So let's taxi then. All the way to this position so we can finish this training scenario. I was supposed not to taxi more than 10 knots doing low visibility procedures. But as I am on a straight line and I'm confident where I am and not to have a long video, I'm going to speed up things a little bit. Once again, the airport, so we can with the airport follow where we are. So the second to the left. Then after the second to the left, we continue all the way, and then we go around the terminal to position 26. So this is the first one coming here. Let's see if we have position 26 available. Yeah, position 26 is available. Show me this spot. This spot is somewhere there. Okay, that's fine. So 26. Request follow me. No, we don't need. So this is the first one. This is the continuation of Alpha to the left. We are now joining Bravo. And Lima will be the next one to the left. Once again, the chart for you. We are now on Bravo. Lima will, Delta will be the next one to the left. So I should be at 10 knots. But once again, speeding up a little bit. So this is taxiway Delta. On Delta, we go all the way until the ramp. The ramp is called Lima. As you can see now, we are on Delta. We go all the way until we reach Lima and then November Charlie around the pier. Once again, this is the view of the passengers. We still have the APU fault light, so we cannot turn on the APU. We're going to ask for external electrical power. So we continue straight ahead. We do not take this right turn on this taxiway. Even though there is no green light, it should be. We have to continue straight ahead. Once again, I'm going to show you that we are continuing straight ahead. And we need to take the last one to the left. Okay, now we can see the terminal. This one coming is Echo. We are supposed to have another taxiway here, which is Lima. So I'm taking left here on Lima. Okay, we are now on Lima. We'll be taxiing around the terminal. And take the next right on November Charlie. Next right coming here is November Charlie. Yeah, this is November Charlie inside the apron. November Bravo is the outside line. So as you can see here, we are now on November Charlie. We join Romeo to the other side. Position 26. We are around the terminal now. I hope we have marshaller or something with this GSX here. So here we go, next right. Now we are joining Romeo. And I just want to make sure we go to the right place. So show me this spot. Yes, this is the one that we want. We have the markings on the ground for 26. At this time, we can switch off the lights. Let me stop here. I don't know once again why my steering is not working. I just want to make sure I have options and simulation and previous rudder only. Yes, that's the one it's supposed to be. So it should be working. Yeah, we just crossed position 26 a little bit. I'm going to do in this external view. I don't know why my tiller is not working properly. I was at a low speed. So it should be able to turn all the way. Looks like it's working now. Yes. So let's see if we have marshaller or some sort of guidance. Yeah, there is a marshaller there. I can see it. Here we go. Marshall is telling us to go left. Now straight. And now stop. Here we are. Shut down the engines. So first, in this case, we set the parking brake. We can turn off the right engine. Now, FS actions, ground service. We need the GPU card. So we set the wheel chocks and we can request. Usually this comes, the GPU card comes before the wheel chocks, but on the PMDG we cannot do it. So let's see, now we have the ground power available. We have the ground power on the bus. We can shut down the other engine and do all the procedures as APU is off. All fuel pumps, they go off. Seat belts, they go off. Electric hydraulic pumps off. APU is not working, so we do not have any air conditioning. Oops, this goes to open. So the packs will be off for now. APU bleed is off as APU is off, and anti-collision light can go off. Now we check the fuel used. 3,520, and we can reset it. Fly directors to off. Flaps, they are up, and this one goes to 2,000. And standby. We can do now the shutdown checklist, and here we are. I'm going to ask GSX to request the boarding. Guys, thank you so much for following me through this video. I'm sorry I didn't give you the simulator sound in the beginning, especially for the first approach. It will be nice for you to hear approaching minimums and the minimums call for the go around. It's always nice to see these these sounds and the engine sound and everything else as we are on the approach. Oh, the passengers, they are leaving without the bridge. Let's see if we can fix this up. But that's it. I realized for the second approach, and I give you the sound as well. So this is not stairs, this is jetway. Let's request the jetway. Why jetway is not coming? Tell me, guys, please. GSX, what did you do? Let's see if we can operate jetways. Well, there is something wrong with this jetways, as you can clearly see. It's an invisible jetway for this deboarding. Guys, once again, thank you so much for watching this video. FSI panel training scenario, Manchester raining day. We made it. VOR approach to a go around, and then an ILS Cat 3 Alpha approach. See you next time. Bye bye.